Yes, guys, welcome to Cultural War. In this video, Jesse is going to be taking on three educated women. Jesse proves his point that educated women don't make for good wives. Um, I agree to some extent. I agree to some extent, but not to some other extents. But that's not. That's just my own opinion. I would like to know your opinion at the end of this video. I would like to react to your opinion. So I want you to dive into the video. But before you do that, do me a quick favor. Why don't you just subscribe to the channel if you have not, and also turn on the notification bell to get more videos like this. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
I mentioned that I was interviewed, well, supposed to have been interviewed on a black radio network out of, it was Syria Radio, but I think it has some connection to that black college in D.C. What's that college? Howard University. And um, so it was, I was being interviewed by a black woman who was not the primary host of the show, I don't think. She help out, she helps out there, she assistant host or whatever, right? What's her name? Molette Green was hosting the show, and they wanted to talk to me about why do I say that a man should not marry. Remember we asked the question, should a man marry an educated woman with a degree? And I said a man should not marry an educated woman with a degree because she would not make for a good wife and mother for his children. And so they wanted to know why. They black. They wanted to know why. So Malette Green had me on, and she had two other black women on there too. One with a degree who was divorced, and another one, I don't know what her deal was. And so they asked me about it, and I explained to them why I mentioned that women with degrees do not make for good wives and mothers because they have an ego, real ego, right? And when they get educated, it get worse. And they will not make for a good wife and mother because they want to act like the man. And they want the man to become the woman, and that doesn't work. And so she allowed one of the guests to jump in there, and the guest had been through a divorce, and I raised wonderful children. I'm like, yeah, right, right? And I mentioned the order of God because I'm not remembering everything that was said. I mentioned the order of God in Christ, Christ and man, man over woman, and woman over children. And I said that women don't have love to give, they receive love. And that God is the man's God and Satan is the woman's God, right? And it was over. Egotistical woman. And this man is too beta male to make her do the right thing.
Okay, you just heard Christian radio host Jesse Lee Peterson's point of view. You just heard him there. He feels very strongly that educated women don't make for good wives and mothers. Along with Dr. Michelle Day, who is an MD, also with us here in the studio, Sharice Jackson Jordan, who is a former Real Housewife of Potomac cast member. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You spoke on your radio show about this. You basically went after a congressman, Representative Sean Duffy, who announced that he would resign to spend more time to take care of his family. Now, you call him a beta male.
Beta male.
What do you mean by this?
Absolutely. Well, beta male is a weak man. It's a man who, once he get married to a woman, he become the son and she become the mother. And he is afraid to be honest with his wife or woman or girlfriend, whatever it might be, where he is, as his congressman announced that he's doing, it sounds as though he's going to stay home and play wife and mother while his wife is still working. So he's a very weak man, and women hate weak men, so it's not going to be good for the woman nor his family.
Now, your statements touch off a lot of comments, critical comments of your statements about men not marrying women with degrees. What in the world is the problem with that?
A man should never ever marry a woman with a degree because women have big egos anyway, and they're jealous of men
They're jealous of masculinity because masculinity comes from God, and feminism comes from Satan, right? And so Satan is jealous of the Son of God, so he uses women to try to destroy men. They don't realize, in most cases, they don't realize.
Okay, let me bring in my other guest, Dr. Day, Cherise. What do you want to say?
I'm actually stunned right now with the comments that this gentleman has made.
But you were a stay-at-home mom when your children were young. Your kids are young adults now.
And that was by choice. My husband, he could afford for me to stay home. I actually gave up my career to be home with my children, which I actually don't regret it. It was a good situation for my children. However, this day that I'm living in right now, where I'm divorced, so what am I supposed to do now? Like, not do nothing?
The reason you're divorced because of your ego, your education only added to your ego.
Sir, I wasn't working. I did exactly what you said.
Because the man had not overcome his mother, he didn't know how to handle the hell in you.
Okay, Reverend Peterson. Reverend Peterson. We're all going to respect each other on this program.
Well, I'm not being disrespectful.
You are being disrespectful.
I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just telling the truth.
How are you telling the truth? I don't even know who you are, so how could you know the truth about me?
Okay, Dr. Day, jump in here.
I'm just going by what you said about yourself, and I'm responding to that.
Reverend Peterson, let me have my other guest speak, please. Dr. Day?
So, interestingly, I was married to a man who, and we went to college together. We also went to medical school together, and it ended up being that I was not the type of wife that he ultimately wanted. He wanted someone that was who would stay at home and didn't have as many career ambitions than I did. So then we parted. So there's a lid for every pot, and now I've remarried to someone who appreciates the fact. He appreciates me and myself, and he is not bothered by the number of degrees I've had or the leadership positions that I hold.
Those relationships are not working because it is not the order of God. The order of God is God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children. Women don't have love, but they receive love from their earthly fathers when they're growing up, unless the mothers turn them away from their fathers. Then when they get married, they receive the love from the father that comes from God. I mean, from their husband that comes from God. And if that order is not there, it has been reversed, then the so-called love that the women think they have is nothing but anger and hate. And if you notice, that's why the boys and girls grow up insecure, suicidal thoughts, doubt, and fear, and worry, because the mother does not have love.
I have no idea.
Anger, and anger is hatred.
I have no idea where any of this is coming from. It doesn't make any kind of sense to me. I can't even grasp hold to what you're saying.
And
She's
not
educated.
It's not in the Bible.
It is in the Bible. Read Genesis. It's in the Bible.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is your answer to what I'm supposed to do now as a woman who needs to take care of myself? Just sit and wait for somebody else to come along?
We don't have we don't have Reverend Peterson with us anymore. Okay, so let's just talk about this.
That's when they hung up on me.
Quite striking to hear that in this day and age,
I would have
this
loved
is
to
the belief of a lot
respond to
of
that.
people. I mean, and calling women beings who come from Satan is just out of the realm of normal. And I'm just going to make that statement right here and right now. And we're not going to have that kind of language on our air here.
They hung up on me. They ran. They put their tails between their legs, at least the host did, and took off. Next thing I knew, she went to the guest woman, the woman that was on there as the guest, one of the ladies. And the next thing I knew, they had cut me off. They hung up on me. I thought women were strong and can handle it, right? They can't handle the truth. Not all, but most. Especially women who've grown up close to their earthly father, they can take it because they have logical minds. But they hung up on me. And I'm like, what the? As Joel would say, what the? And so I called them back, and they wouldn't answer. So if you see Millette Green running down the road at Howard University or Syria Radio somewhere, Ask her, why did you run from Jesse Lee Peterson? Beta female. And it caused me to realize women don't like admitting that they're wrong. So my point is, don't hate. Forgive your parents. Forgive your parents. They mean well. They don't have it. They don't have real love. They have the father state love, and that does not work. And so if you forgive your parents, then you will overcome the father state love, and you will operate from real love, which comes from above, men and women, which come from above. And then your kids won't have to suffer like that. And then you will no longer feel, you will grow out of feeling like a child with your parents. Men and women who are adults, past 18, you're not a child. You are an adult. Your peer, your parents are your peers now. So when you're with them, you will deal with them with truth and with perfect love. Right? But as long as you feel like a child, you're going to always be afraid of mama. And in some cases, daddy. Forgive so you can grow up. It is really interesting and really heartbreaking the number of men who have grown up, now they're 17, 18, 19, and so on, and they have not been taught to be prepared for life, to be ready to leave home, to go and get an apartment, to get a job, and take care of themselves, deal with issues. They don't know how. They know how to go to college, though. College prep, but not life prep. These guys, they need life prep, not college prep. Teach them to work. Show them how to pay bills. Tell them they got to go when they're 18, but prepare them for it. Teach them a trade or something. Even if they go to college, they still need to have a trade. Work with their hands. So when you're working with them growing up, they're not going to be afraid to leave home. I never thought about being afraid of leaving home at 18. And when I left home, one thing just led to another one. And that's how life is, right? But you got to prepare the young men. Prepare your sons and daughters.